What's up, YouTube? In today's video, I wanted to talk about home theater and smart lighting accessories. Now, I've talked about this previously in some of my other videos, but I wanted to kind of do a little bit deeper dive as to why smart lighting and accessories with smart lighting is important for your home theater. The reason why this is so important is because it gives you a seamless experience with your home theater. I don't know about you, but sometimes I sit down and watch a movie or a TV show or play a game and I have the lights on and I forget to turn them off. Well, instead of me having to walk over to the light, which I know isn't that big a deal, but instead of me having to walk over to the light, I can just use my voice, or I can use any of my electronic devices throughout the home. So as I've stated before in my videos, I'm using a combination of HomeKit and smart lighting. Now right now I have a mixture of Philips Hue lights as well as some other light bulbs that you may not have heard of. The other light bulbs that I'm using are called Nanoleaf Essentials, and you can buy them on the App Store. Now what makes these light bulbs different from Philips Hue is Philips Hue needs a hub. The Nanoleaf bulbs do not, and they're way cheaper. They're $19.99 in the App Store, and they work with Thread technology. Now Thread devices work with HomeKit, and if you have a HomePod Mini, then these support Thread. So with Thread devices or Thread lights, you don't need a hub. Your HomePod Mini is basically the hub, but you can connect these Nanoleaf either by Bluetooth or through Thread. Now Bluetooth is a much different experience. It's not as quick, it's very slow, but you can still use them. But if you hook it up with a HomePod Mini, or if you have a home hub, you can use an iPad as a home hub. It's very, very seamless, it's very quick. And the thing about Thread is the more devices that you add to that Thread network, it becomes stronger and stronger. So it's almost like it's kind of like a Wi-Fi mesh network, you could say. Now going back to smart lighting, one of the accessories that I'm using right now is this Philips Hue switch. Now the cool thing about this one, this is the latest model, but the cool thing about this is I don't have to just use this with Philips Hue. Because it's HomeKit enabled, I can tie whatever actions that I want or scenes that I want to this. So if I want, I can turn on my lights, I can turn them off, all from this remote. So I have this, there's a mount that comes with it. You can either hard mount it or you can use some 3M strips. And I have it outside of my theater, and if I need to come into the theater and I'm not turning on my whole system, I can just press one of these buttons, turn on the lights, come in here, do what I need to do, come out, press the button, and it's off. But I can configure this however I want. I can configure this to turn on my riser lights if I want. I can configure this to do some type of activity with my Harmony hub. Anything. As long as it's in HomeKit, I can configure this. So this is something to keep in mind. If you have smart lights that are compatible with HomeKit, you can use this and you can bring this and sit down with it. You can have it right next to you. You don't have to worry about walking over to the lights, or if you don't have a home hub, or if you're not using Apple HomeKit, then if you don't want to use your voice, you can just use this. But if you are using HomeKit, you have many options. You can use your phone, you can use your iPad, you can use your HomePod Mini, and you can just use your voice, or you can use your Apple Watch to adjust the lights, turn on the lights, turn off the lights. I have a bunch of different scenes in my HomeKit, and I can use my watch, I can use my voice to tell it, hey, I want to turn on the riser lights, or I have a scene for eating when I'm watching TV, so that I can see what I'm eating, but I can still also see what's on the screen, and I have the lights behind me turn on. That way the lights in front of me don't wash out the screen. Another accessory that I'm using are these Philips Hue light sensors. Now currently I'm not using them in my home theater, but I plan to get a few more and I will implement them into my home theater. So right now I'm using these in my bedroom closet as well as my washroom where I wash my clothes. And it's a sensor and you can configure this. So I have some Philips Hue lights, and when I walk in the room, this thing is a sensor. It sits up on your ceiling, and there's a mount that attaches to this part, but it sits up on your ceiling, and when it senses motion, I have it set to turn on the lights, and then after so many minutes it'll turn off the lights. Now I plan on utilizing this in my home theater, and because sometimes when I'm watching movies and TV shows that's not on Plex, I don't have the ability to make scenes so that my riser lights come on. It works with Plex, but it doesn't work with, like Amazon or Apple TV Plus or Netflix or Hulu. But what I plan to do is I plan to put two of these, one on the front riser on the bottom and another one back here where I'm standing now. That way, whenever somebody gets up, the sensor will recognize that there's motion, and I can set it to where it'll turn on the riser lights, and then I can have it go off after a certain amount of time. So that's just another idea to give you to use in your home theater. All these things work with HomeKit, and unfortunately I'm not using anything else to show you, like the Amazon Alexa or the Google Hubs. I have used those in the past and they just didn't work well for me. I didn't like the functionality, it wasn't seamless, but once I switched over to HomeKit, everything is pretty much seamless. There are still some little glitches here and there, but for the most part, HomeKit is just amazing, and you can do so many automations, you can do so many scenes, and you can control your voice, and you have many options with the iPhone, the iPad, the watch, and the HomePod mini. Something else that comes in very useful are HomeKit enabled smart switches. Now I mentioned this before also, but I have my riser lights, my riser chairs hooked up to one set of smart outlets, and they're just a smart outlet that you plug into your wall, and I can control it through HomeKit. So at night when I'm ready to go to bed, I have a command that turns everything off, my lights, my switches, anything that's HomeKit enabled that I don't want to stay on. I have one command, or I have a scene, and then I just tell my HomePod mini to activate that scene, and she turns off all that stuff, and it turns off my smart switches, so that my chairs that are hooked up to that smart switch, they're not going to just stay on all night. It's probably not using that much power anyway, but it's good to know that I have all that stuff configured. As well as my projector, I have that hooked up to a Wemo smart switch, and there's been many times where I've forgotten to turn off my projector, or for whatever reason the sensor didn't work on my Harmony Hub and it didn't turn off my projector, and I didn't realize it until the next morning, and my projector was on for 8, 9, 10 hours. So now I've had it for a while hooked up to another smart switch, and it's part of my HomeKit scenes. At night I can say a scene, or I can activate a scene, and it turns it off, and I don't have to worry about it. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video on how you can use smart lighting and accessories to have a seamless experience with your home theater. I really love this feature, and you don't just have to use Philips Hue or Nanoleaf. There's other bulbs. I think LIFX works as well. I don't have any experience with that, but I do know friends that use those in their home theater. So just look around. If it has the HomeKit enabled tag on it, then it should work, and all you have to do is just add it to your HomeKit, and you can configure it however you want. Alright guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.